Hello and welcome to the September 2013 energy reading. I'm Adrienne Elise, and we have the sun in Virgo until the 22nd. And Virgo is an earth sign, very grounded. It's an opportunity to really come back into ourselves after our busy summers, get organized, clean our house, clean our body, and be able to be ready to transition into this next season. We're having quite an activation of the squaring planets of Pluto and Uranus coming into a square. It's been happening over the last couple years, the flavor of this whole time period that we live in. And so what's happening is we've got Pluto and Uranus in square, and in the late 60s, these planets were in conjunction, and they were responsible for a lot of the social changes that happened. And if you think back to all the social changes that happened at the time, and that came from a harmonious aspect, and there was still a lot of violent change that needed to happen. And now we're in a square, and a square has this tension. It's the most tension, but that also affords the most profound change possibilities. And so we're really feeling the square. And the interesting energy of the square, it's 90-degree turn. So you're going through your life and you're kind of like, okay, here we go. I'm just going through my life. And then all of a sudden it's like, complete change of direction. And so that's kind of the energy of this square. We're having a lot of profound change available to us in our individual lives, but also on a global scale. Also, the 90-degree uh, aspect is really important in thinking about levels of ascension. When you move through levels of consciousness, it's associated with a 90-degree turn, and that is represented in the steps of the pyramid. And so each one represents a level of consciousness. And so that's is just kind of keeping that reminder that what we're going through right now has to do with our conscious evolution. You know, we're really changing the as spiritual beings. We're becoming our true self as spiritual beings. And that's really interesting because in this play out of events, in this big square that's happening, we've got Uranus, the awakener. It's the ruler of Aquarius, the type of innovation and change and different way of thinking in through technology and the collective consciousness, and to change our world. And we've got that Uranus awakener in Aries, which is the sign of the self, and it's a sign of the child. And so it's our child self, and so it's that we're having this opportunity for a revolution of ourself, of what really matters to us, what are we really here for. And so a lot of us are going through that. We've got this kind of, in this corner we've got Uranus, the awakener in Aries, being like the tantrum, the child being like, I want change and I want it now. I want it this way. And then we've got Pluto over here in Capricorn in the next corner. And Pluto is the sign of the deeper inner psyche, the woundedness, our inner childhood, the stuff that needs to come to the surface to be healed. And it's in the sign of Capricorn, which is an earth sign, and it's a mountain goat and karma and struggle. And so we have a little bit of this feeling as this aspect's been happening over the years. It's kind of like a feeling like we can feel the changes happening, we can feel the push starting to happen, and our lives are changing, but it's also this feeling of being kind of stuck and being a victim of these changes and kind of being stuck in the mud. This Pluto in Capricorn kind of has this feeling of being stuck in the muck and the mud of our deepest inner depths, the parts of ourselves we don't want to look at, you know, our deepest inner fears and pain. But great opportunity for this shift, for these things to be released right now. And just remember that we are in the year of the snake. And so when things start to get really intense and feel really intense, know that you're almost through it. You almost made it. And you just have to breathe through it and know that you're going to be shedding that skin. And there's just so much energy for transformation and release. And it doesn't have to be so hard. And that's the shift that's going on planetarily right now, is that we're kind of moving out of the victim consciousness of this square and collectively having an opportunity to really move out of victim consciousness. But so we've got the Pluto and Uranus, and then uh, last month Jupiter came into play in Cancer, and so that is at another corner, so it's making a T-square. And so Jupiter in Cancer is about expansiveness, about broad understanding, about seeing the truth of things, having that wisdom kick in and that broader perspective. It's a slow moving planet. It's going to be in this T-square all the way until April. And so, again, looking at that year cycle of next spring, what you want your life to look like. Because Pluto has been retrograde this big player in this whole drama has been retrograde since April. And so we've kind of been going deep into the place of the inner psyche and what needs to be released there. And that is kind of a crucial aspect of this. And then so Jupiter being in this T square until next April, it's kind of like, what do you want your life to look like? What started last April and what's going to be continuing next year at this time? And what would you want your life to look like, and kind of keeping your eye on the prize and helping harmonize all of these changes. So the Jupiter has kind of been a good player, even though it's in square, because it's a great placement in Cancer, which is a nurturing water sign of home and representing Mother Earth, the divine feminine. And so Jupiter's saying, hold on, you guys, let's just step back, let's just slow down, and let's just get perspective on what's going on here. And so it's kind of that first step in pulling out a victim. It's like kind of seeing things for what they really are. And the main point of that is that your life needs to change to be able to accommodate and harmonize with the truth of who you are, because you're different. If you look back 6 months, you look back 2 years ago, you look back a month ago, you're changing. And that's that exactly that Uranus in Aries, that revolution of the self. And so your life has to evolve alongside. The changes need to happen in order to accommodate the truth of you. And that's a beautiful thing. So just keeping that perspective is really important. Now, what happened was that Venus came in at the end of last month. It was in Libra, in the other cardinal sign. So we have a grand cross in the sky and a grand cardinal cross going on. And Venus is the planet of love and beauty and harmony. And so it's like trying to bring some harmony into these crosses. But really, what seemed to happen was old wounds with relationship and love were coming to the surface, bringing these old wounds for clearing forward. And that's really beautiful, because we're having some really beautiful aspects at the end of the month, bringing us into more of a feeling of openness and intimacy, and open to experiencing our cosmic connection more. And so it's important that those things get resolved. Now, Venus was there, and then Mercury is going to move in at the middle of September and become that cardinal cross. Now, Mercury has very different energy. It's an action planet. It's a communication and thoughts, and a clarity is going to come forward around why all these changes have been happening, what has been going on under the surface. And I think this Mercury energy coming into the square is going to be super crucial for um, there's just good energy for disclosure to happen around Pluto, the power structures, the changes, the potential technology that we have available to us that we haven't been told about, that kind of falls under the Uranus. So Mercury coming into the square is really going to move us forward out of victim and bring forward some information about the corruption on the planet, some disclosure, and also about the opportunities available to us to make our world a better place. And so that's going to help make people feel a little more comfortable and come out a victim of this square. And that's a really beautiful thing. And so after with those aspects happening, then at the kind of the second part of the month, we have these little sweet little treats, these aspects that are very harmonious, that are coming in kind of like little dessert, like, look at all the hard work you've been doing, and let's just bring some little harmony into this situation. And this happens with in the middle of the month, Mars makes a trine with Uranus, and Mars is our fighter planet, and Uranus is that revolutionary change. And so it's kind of being like, wait, do we have to fight for this change? Like, can we just allow it to happen? How can we fight in a way that isn't so dramatic and painful? And can we bring our fight in a different way to this change? Being able to stand up for ourselves and take action in that really positive aspects of the male part of ourselves. But not get into the struggle and the trauma and having to battle for it, you know. So it's really about releasing the battle, moving out of victim. It's a huge shift collectively on the planet, and available to you individually as well. Now, on the 18th, Venus comes into a conjunction with Saturn, and Venus, of course, is the love planet, and conjunction coming together with Saturn in Scorpio. And that's a really beautiful thing, is bringing harmony to these karmic struggles that have been going on. And on the 20th, Venus comes into a triangle with Chiron. Chiron's the wounded healer, and there's quite a few aspects with Chiron over the last couple months. And on that same day, Pluto goes direct. And so this is a really profound day, and it's also really close to the equinox on the 22nd, and the full moon. And so all that energy together, Pluto direct, the full moon, Venus trining Chiron, there's and these other beautiful trines, we're just really have this opportunity to just push right out of victim and move into this broader understanding, this going with the flow, this trust that Jupiter in Cancer brings to us, this opportunity. So a real big shift there. So we make it through the next couple of weeks. We're going to have a lot of support to kind of come back to peace with our process. And on the 26th, Venus comes into a beautiful trine with Jupiter. And so that's going to kind of cement that for us, this love and harmony coming into a triangle relationship with Jupiter and that broader understanding. And it's taking the square out of the square. These beautiful aspects are taking that harshness, that sharp corner out of the square, and kind of allowing us to just sit back, go with the flow, trust. At the end of the month, we do have another square though between the personal planets, Mars and Venus. And Mars is the male part of ourselves, Venus the female. And this is really interesting because we talked about the Pluto Uranus square, and that happens exact 7 times, and I liken it to the 7 major chakras. We've had 3 of them. The next one happens in the middle of October, and we're already feeling that, and we're really going to be feeling it when Pluto goes direct. But we're moving into that next exact, but that's the heart chakra. So we have this great opportunity for this heart chakra activation. And in order to really move into the sacred space of the heart, you have to have a balance between the male and the female within you. And that is the deep psychic wounds that have been trying to heal. The mommy and the daddy part of yourself, the healing of your parents, your inner childhood, your life on that deep, deep, deep level. And so it's kind of highlighting this little aspect as Venus and Mars come together in that square at the end of the month, kind of highlighting in it. And it's actually a great opportunity to come into balance, release whatever needs to be released to come into balance between the male and the female part of yourself in order to move into the oneness of the heart. And so I'm going to be offering a meditation along with this energy reading this month as a heart chakra activation, and also balancing the male and female to be able to move into the sacred space of the heart, which is the oneness from where we all came and where we all exist as one. And that is kind of the big picture energy behind all of this astrology that's going on, is recognizing that we are in a collective consciousness. And basically the changes that we need to happen on that level as well as individually. So being ready for this heart chakra activation in October, having just taking full advantage of all the harmonious aspects, making the growth and those 90-degree turns and changes in our life just a little bit more harmonious and sweet for us, instead of so hard and struggle and battle and being a victim of it all. And just know that your whole life is trying to arrange to be more supportive of the truth of yourself. And remember, that's changed, the truth of you, because we're all having this revolution of the self, of Uranus and Aries, and cleansing, cleaning house, getting in there in the deepest depths of our psyche and cleansing it. And a lot of people have been having a lot of subconscious fear come to the surface. And it just doesn't have an origin. And so you can just ask that that be released and know that's coming from the deepest depths of your psyche, and just ask for help in releasing. There's just so much support right now. In a way, to me, it looks like a vacuum, and this vacuum can suck all this negative energy that comes to the surface out of your space. There's just so much help and guidance for that right now. But it has to gather first in order to be collected. And so that's kind of like the zit forming, the toxins coming together, being isolated in the body. And so when those blooms happen, when that yucky stuff has to kind of bloom and come together, it just isn't very fun. It doesn't look very nice, but it's just part of the process, and you have to get there to be able to shift it. And it's happening so fast, especially just having that awareness of the support that's available in this year of the snake, with all the angelic guidance and help that's available as we shift in conscious levels. So enjoy your heart chakra activation. I hope to see you in the meditation, and I look forward to next month. And enjoy your journey. Namaste.